All right, everyone, let's get right into it. We're going to tackle one of the biggest, most heated debates in the entire Kivatos fandom. Yeah, forget about tier lists for a sec, forget meta strategies, because we are diving deep into the one question that really matters.
You know what I'm talking about. The ultimate question. Who is Sensei's perfect partner? Come on. It's a debate that's launched 1,000 forum threads, inspired countless pieces of fan art, and probably started more than a few friendly arguments.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Sensei is a guide, a protector to so many students, and of course, a lot of them have developed some really deep, really strong feelings. And that, right there, creates the ultimate dilemma for all of us in the fan base.
So, to try and settle this once and for all, we thought, let's take human opinion out of the equation. We actually put together a panel of AIs. We fed them all the data we could find, in-game events, fan discussions, you name it, and we gave them one single mission. Act as the ultimate matchmaker for Sensei.
So, who did our digital Cupid panel pick? Let's find out. The investigation starts right now.
Okay, but before we jump straight to the names, we got to understand the ground rules our AI panel set up. See, they realized pretty quick that perfect partner isn't just one thing, so they broke it all down into two really important, distinct categories.
So on one side, you've got the lover. This is all about the romance, right? The heart-pounding moments, the super sweet interactions, that emotional connection. But then, on the other side, you have the wife. This is about the long haul, stability, being a real partner in life, and that feeling of security you get from building a future together. And here's the thing, a great lover isn't always the same as a great wife, and the other way around. So the real question is, who's the best at each of these roles?
All right, let's start with the heart. Let's talk romance. Which students did the AI analysis peg as the top-tier lover candidates?
And probably to nobody's surprise, one name popped up immediately, and just kept coming up again and again in every single analysis. Gehenna's head prefect, Hina.
You know, the AI's synthesis of all those fan discussions boiled their whole dynamic down to two perfect words: secret lovers. And that phrase it nails the mood, doesn't it? It's not just about being affectionate. It's about this unique, private, really deep romantic intimacy that she only shares with Sensei.
And the evidence for this? It's all in her Bond stories. They are consistently described as just incredibly heartwarming and romantic. I mean, here's a character with all this responsibility, and yet she lets her guard down and shows this vulnerable, super sweet side just for Sensei. That powerful romantic vibe is exactly why she landed as a top-tier candidate here.
Okay, let's move on to our next big contender. This is a student whose feelings might be a little more subtle, but believe me, they are just as powerful. Azusa.
So what the data really zeroed in on with Azusa is her method. Her romantic feelings, they're not always shouted from the rooftops. Instead, they're shown in all these small, incredibly sweet actions. A classic example that popped up in the fan data was the whole pretending she can't swim just to hold hands bit. It's those kinds of quiet, thoughtful moves, scenes that feel so close to a confession that make her an absolute powerhouse in the lover category.
Okay, so we've got our top romance picks, but what about that long-term stable partnership? Who passed the wife test? And when it came to this category, wow. There was one name that just completely dominated the analysis. We're not talking just a popular choice. This was a nearly unanimous verdict for the #1 spot. Of course, I'm talking about Gehenna's own Fuka.
And this next point illustrates exactly why. The AI analysis picked up on a specific term the Japanese fanbase uses for her, especially after the Valentine's event, kayotsuma. It literally translates to a commuting wife. Think about that. This isn't just someone who stops by to cook a meal. This is a partner who regularly comes over to take care of the household, showing a level of dedication that is, well, pretty much what you'd expect in a marriage.
I mean, her performance during that event was just legendary, right? The devoted care, the incredible cooking and domestic skills, but most importantly, she gave Sensei this powerful sense of family-like security. For the AI, this wasn't just, oh, that's helpful. No, this was the textbook definition of a long-term partner.
But Fuka wasn't alone at the top. Another student scored exceptionally high for her sheer practicality, her reliability, and the security she offers, Millennium's treasurer, Yuuka.
What's so interesting in the data for Yuuka is how her relationship with Sensei starts out. It's all about practicality, right? Specifically, managing his, let's say, questionable spending habits. But that concern evolves. What starts as just managing the books blossoms into genuine care and, eventually, very clear romantic feelings. Her reliability and her skill with money, those aren't just personality quirks.
The AI saw those traits as the very bedrock of a stable, secure, and successful marriage.
All right, so we have our specialists. Hina and Azusa, top tier on the romance side. Fuka, the undisputed queen of wife material, with Yuuka right there beside her. But what happens when we put it all together? When we combine the scores? Who's the total package? Who can do it all?
Because here's what the AI concluded. The truly elite candidates, the ones you could call perfect partners, are the all-rounders. They're the ones who bring the romance and the stability. They're the students who scored high in both categories.
And here it is, the final scorecard. Let's break this down, shall we? The analysis points to two clear top-tier all-rounders, Hina and Yuuka. They both absolutely excel as lovers and as long-term partners. Now Fuka, she remains the unmatched top-tier wife, no question, and still pulls a great in pure romance, making her a seriously powerful specialist. And then you've got other strong contenders like Azusa and Karin, both pulling solid great ratings across the board. According to the AI, this is the final breakdown.
So there you have it. The AI has given us the data. We've got the romantics, the stabilizers, and the all-arounders all laid out. But you know what? An algorithm can't make the final call. The data can show us who is compatible, sure, but the heart wants what it wants, right? So the real question isn't who the AI would choose, it's who would you choose. The debate, my friends, is far from over.